Wars. I think it's good, except it sucks. So let me do the plan, and that way it might be really good.
price you'd have to pay if there was a reckoning. That reckoning is here.
Up until this point, the stakes were never low. And now that the rest of Hawkeye, we're free. She's somehow reprogrammed. She's not real.
You're going to take me to my daughter. Here we are, calling that will never know death, and yet we're fighting to live. There is beauty in who we are. It's us or them. It's just a different form of multi-time.
Place hidden from God. We had someone else in mind entirely.
Lost in the dark. Is it revenge? Or is it something else? Rough around the edges. Be good.
Come with us. You're in this life for good. Buckle up.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Fossilized Bumblebee from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Venom needs some lessons in pronunciation. And holy Avengers Infinity War is finally almost upon us. That's what I'm all that more right now on Up and Down Live.
Oh, he's pulling. I got him.
Oh, look at that.
I got a fish.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome once again to Up at Noon Live. We're actually live this week. You just caught us playing with our adult men's toys.
Hell yeah.
Nintendo Labo, only for the most masculine of true gamers, us. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Up at Noon is, of course, our weekly comedy nonsense variety show where we do really just the dumbest stuff. We are live on IGN.com, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Roku, on Apple TV, on Xbox One, on PS4, on Facebook, on anything that has a screen on it that you can watch us on. I honestly don't even know. We don't know what you can watch the show on because we host it.
That's right.
We're on it,
We're here.
so we
We're
don't know
making it.
what you're watching it live on.
You
We're
tell
here.
us. Let us know in the comments somewhere. Yeah. That's Max Scoville. I'm Brian Altano.
Yeah.
We have a really good show today. There's obviously, thank you for joining us. If you're anything like us, this is peak excitement for what is going to be a gigantic movie weekend.
Yeah.
And you're probably trying to kill some time and you're having some fun. So thank you for joining us.
Oh, yeah,
It's a good
but-
time. We're going to say spoiler free for all that crap.
Yeah.
We don't care. We're
Just be aware out there if you're trying to avoid Avengers spoilers. Just don't read the comments. Stay off the internet because people are out there being jerks about it. So just we're gonna have a nice time, and we do have somebody manning the chat. So if you want to say hello or whatever, we've got our producer Dan Parkhurst, the disembodied hand that does things here, and he's keeping an eye on stuff. So if you've got questions or topics or whatever, give us a shout out. Dude, you've been traveling for a few weeks, and I feel like we haven't done a proper episode of this show
We have
in a
not,
cool minute.
no.
So to get to do it on a week where there's actually a lot of fun stuff to talk about is
awesome.
nice.
Yeah, our run of show every week is usually pretty tight. This week it's bursting at the seams, so we probably won't even get to everything we want to get to. So I guess let's jump right into it.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of news. As always, a bunch of stuff always happens first thing Thursday morning, and everything we had prepared for the show is immediately old news. But the good, hot news, they announced this morning that there is going to be, wait for it, a Star Wars anime, sort of. It's a new show called Resistance. It's going to be premiering on, I believe, the Disney Channel and also Disney XD later this fall. It's being kind of run by Dave Filoni, who also worked on Rebels and Clone Wars. A lot of the people from Rebels are coming over to this. It's called Resistance, and it's about, obviously, the Resistance. So it's set before the events of the current sequel trilogy, and it's going to have returning characters of like Poe Dameron, BB-8, obviously. And I believe Oscar Isaac and Gwendolyn Christie are actually signed on to be part of it. The main character is someone called Kazuda Giono, who is a Resistance pilot who was kind of picked up by Leia Organa Solo, and it's all about it's Star Wars. They fly the spaceships and they fight the First Order and whatever.
I think we're in for a good time with this one.
Yeah, I'm excited that they're going a kind of a different style artistically. I don't know exactly how heavily anime inspired they're going to go. If it's going to be like fully like, hey, this looks like anime, or if this is more of like a kind of like Avatar: The Last Airbender, just kind of anime inspired type of thing. Looking at the kind of art we've got here, we've got a. What is that? I guess that's a Resistance X-wing. I don't even know what ship that is. I don't know what that is. I guess that's.
It's weird because it looks like a Naboo starfighter crossed with a Resistance X-wing.
I mean, we're obviously going to get some new ships for it, but
yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like the graphics for like a free-to-play shmup on iOS.
Well, I mean, it's also they're announcing the name. You know, they're not really ready to show it off yet. But
Well, I
BB-8
will say that-
specifically does look a little bit. You can tell kind of what they're going for. It looks kind of cell shaded, and I'm guessing they're probably going to use, just because of how expensive it is to hand draw anything for animation. They're probably going to do like sort of cell shaded character models. BB-8's head is like a tiny bit too big there, so I think it's probably going to be a little bit stylized.
I mean, I'm joking about the sort of artsy, cutesy art direction here, but I think what we're seeing here is a good indication that this is going to be probably a slightly more positive, uplifting show than, I don't know, something like kind of the darker prequel stuff.
Yeah, also, I mean, the time period it's set in, obviously they're still going to be fighting bad guys and everything, but it's cool that it's obviously, you know, the blue sky, I feel like is very kind of like Studio Ghibli inspired, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's cool to see some color in there without it being, you know, Clone Wars and Rebels era. So moving on from that, other big news, we got our first look at Bumblebee, the sort of spin-off Transformers movie. And I know a lot of people are sick of Transformers as a franchise because it's gotten completely off the rails. This one I think is worth paying attention to. That's Haley Steinfeld, who was in True Grit. This also has John Cena in it, for what it's worth. A bunch of other people. Interestingly enough, there's a couple sort of firsts about this for it being a Transformers movie. It's coming out before Christmas.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I feel like Transformers has always been like a summer franchise.
Is that this year?
That's this year. It comes out
interesting.
December 21st, 2018.
Yeah, Paramount had their sort of like upfronts yesterday, and they basically did like an E3 press conference for themselves.
Yeah.
Which apparently I was reading people live tweeting from it was all over the place quality-wise. Just like, I mean, it's sort of weird to look at what a movie studio is working on. But John Cena came out and he's been like really like doubling, tripling his efforts to just be a movie star, which is really cool because I mean it's working out for The Rock, right?
I like him. I think
he just did Blockers, which was received really well and made a bunch of money. And he came out on stage and he said, "I am going to work my ass off to make sure that people go see movies." And I think that's really cool. So this is the first live action Transformers movie that is not being sort of filtered through Michael Bay's brain.
So he's going to be producing it, obviously, but Travis Knight is directing, and he's the director of like Kubo and the Two Strings. He was the head of Leica Studios, who did all those kind of stop motion animations, and it's his first time doing a live action movie. So I'm like excited to see a fresh take on this.
Me too.
It's a prequel, and it's about Bumblebee in 1987, and Bumblebee, as you can see in the image, is a VW bug, as Bumblebee should be if you're a fan of the old school Transformers cartoon. And I feel like if they make something that's sort of like, somewhere between E.T. and Knight Rider, that could be really fun.
Yeah, so my philosophy on stuff like this is that we got, 4 or 5 live-action Transformers movies.
Who can count?
They're all over the place. I mean, I like some of them I enjoy parts of, others I reject wholeheartedly. But there is something to be said about those movies being done, and now that license still being profitable, and people looking at it and going like, well, what can we do now? And so I think like a lot of the sort of bloated bad stuff's out of the way. And maybe you really do like the Transformers movies. That's fine. I don't want to take that from you. I mean, there are, like I said, there's a lot of good stuff in them. But now we can move on to whatever's next. And Michael Bay has had his fill, and I think other people can come and explore this world. And to me, like the original 1980s animated Transformers movie is really cool because it does something that I think the movies try to attempt. They take big, bold butt rock music and they infuse it with humans and giant robots that turn into cars. And there's something cool about that.
I mean,
right?
I always like the sort of intersection of like that, like, oh, like a kid gets a talking car, like which they did in the first Transformers really well. But then it all escalated too quickly. And it became like, and that's my problem with the animated Transformers movie, is that it's like, there's just a bunch of robots in space. It doesn't really matter that they turn into cars. That's just like a weird power. They're like, it's more like, I don't know, it's like Animorphs that happen to be robots. But anyway, I'm happy that this is kind of like a smaller movie. I don't know if we're going to see Optimus Prime showing up or whatever. It's just going to be a Bumblebee movie. But in any case, it looks cool. It'll be cool to see a new fresh take on that. Finally, in terms of big news for April 26th, it's Alien Day.
Yes.
Happy Alien Day. If you don't know what Alien Day is, well, obviously you're not a real Alien fan. LV-426 is the planet, also known as Acheron, which is where the alien lives. You can see him there in his party hat, celebrating Alien Day near his derelict ship.
Hey, I don't want to get into the debate here, but I feel like there was that drawing of like how an AT-AT would wear like pants, and I feel like we're there. The 2018 version of that is how would an alien wear the party hat? Would he wear it in the front or the back? Would he wear it on the
I feel like he'd probably just glue some streamers to like a grocery bag and just put it on.
I think he would wear it on his child mouth.
You think he would?
I think
like he wouldn't get like a small, like one of those paper cups they have at the doctor's office, like a little tiny cone that comes out.
Let us know how you think an alien would wear his hat or her hat on the birthday.
Yeah, so some years, like if there's an alien movie coming out, they're like, hey, great news, it's Alien Day, which is a total stretch. Like May the 4th, I get it, sure. The day from Back to the Future or whatever, you can be like, oh, it's a day to, as a nerd to geek out about it. Alien Day is such a stretch, and I love aliens, but like, and Mondo will come out like, we made a new poster, and Super 7's like, we've got some new toys, and it's like, oh, cool, alien stuff. There's like nothing to talk. It's the day the Avengers is coming out. Nobody cares about xenomorphs today. I'm sorry. I love them. I love them very much. But
they're
like,
great.
Just sit down, guys. It's not your year.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a new Alien movie sometime soon or some cool stuff there. But the aliens everyone's really excited about are, of course, the purple people eaters.
Yeah. Now,
otherwise known as Thanos.
Now, Max, before we really break into this, I just sent you a text, and I want you to pull it up.
Why did you text me? I'm on the show right now.
Well, because we're working together.
I don't even have messages open. We're pulling pictures of aliens and party hats from my laptop.
Full screen image of the alien.
I don't want to I don't even know I've got like tabs open and stuff. What did you send me?
For the last 10 years, a studio has been building a cinematic force to be reckoned with. And today,
why are you pulling this up now?
This weekend, that movie is finally opening up in theaters, and I know you're all buying tickets for it, and I know you all can't wait for it. And today is the day we can finally tell you that Dotka, the one ghost that ghost away, is opening in theaters this weekend.
What in the wet hell is this?
This movie is opening.
Why are you showing this to me
this
now?
weekend? Dotka, the one that ghosts away.
You put so much energy into getting the show ready. And
a lot of you are worried.
You text me from
about
the show?
spoilers. I just want to let you know the tickets and showtimes do not seem to be playing near you.
Do you know how hard
And also, Dotka has no reviews.
Oh wait, hold on. We've got
And no, this movie is going up against the Avengers.
Yeah, but if one underdog can take on the Avengers and win, it could be Dodka.
It might be Dodka.
What is this? Here's the movie info. Jack hires Carmel and her Esperista group to get rid of a ghost in the house. Unaware of them being fraudsters, he offers 1 million pesos to get the job done. What will happen now is Carmel and her group face real spirits.
This movie is out tomorrow. Rating? Not rated.
Okay.
They haven't rated it yet.
Well, you know, if there's one thing that can take down the Avengers, it's ghosts.
Yeah, I want you to pull up scroll down to the cast real quick. I want to let you see some of the. So this movie is starring Kim Chiu and 7 Twitter eggs.
All right. They don't have any quotes from the film.
There's nothing.
Man. All right.
This movie opens this weekend.
Okay.
Anyway.
Thank you.
Speaking of movies that open this weekend.
Thank you for just really thoroughly derailing that. That was very refreshing, Brian. So people have been waiting 10 years to see that movie. No, so let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Okay. we need like proper. I think we need proper pomp and circumstance.
Well, because when we clip out this part of the video, we're gonna need a clean intro right here. So let's just get in.
When do I watch this show? It's like, well, it's at Thursdays Pacific time at noon. Obviously, that time slot that shows should be at. Okay.
Here we go. This is a clean intro.
Okay,
Ready? They're going to clip it from right here, and then we'll start it right now.
After 10 years of anticipation, Avengers Infinity War is finally here. Ever since it was I think it was almost like this week, 10 years ago, Iron Man came out, and at the very end, if you stayed through the credits, Nick Fury showed up and he's like, hey, I want to talk to you about something that's called the Avengers Project. I forget what he said. It was 10 years ago.
He was like, yo, we got to build a cinematic universe.
After what, 11 movies? I forgot how many movies they made. They made a lot of movies. And they've been building this up, and they've been setting it up, and they've been working towards Avengers Infinity War, and it's finally here. People are going to go see it tonight. It's huge.
It's huge.
So, of course, we're going to go through Rotten Tomatoes and pull the best sound bites from critics.
Yep.
The best and the worst, because, amazingly, a movie of this magnitude, people have differing opinions about it.
And before we get into that, some real quick housekeeping. Give me a one shot right here. Hi everyone, it's me, Brian from Up at Noon. Friendly reminder that Rotten Tomatoes is not one guy. It's an aggregate review website that contains dozens or sometimes hundreds of reviews allocated from all over the world. It's not one person, he doesn't review movies, and that's not how that works. Thanks for watching, let's get into it.
However, there's also Robert Tomatoes, who is a different film critic. They don't give me a single shot, this sucks. Come on, hi, thank you. Yes, Robert Tomatoes is a film critic though. You can find him on roberttomatoes.blogspot.org.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's get into Avengers. Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so obviously something as huge as Avengers is going to have sort of differing opinions. Some people are sick of Marvel movies. Some people are really excited about them. And it's kind of like, it doesn't matter. This is going to be one of the most successful things ever.
Right.
So
but before we get into it, obviously this is one of the things that we've all feared is that there is a possibility that something of this magnitude with this many characters could effectively collapse under the weight of its own weird animal men.
Yeah. Okay, so we have to make video thumbnails here a lot, and to try to pull an image that explains what this movie is with a simple photo, everything looks like a Where's Waldo. This is the variety pack of. It's what do you want for breakfast? Oh, I want one of those Kellogg's variety packs that has every cereal in it. This is there's too much here.
And I want to mix them in one giant bowl.
Yeah. So obviously there's a lot to cover, and it's going to it's a massive, huge undertaking. To call this a movie is sort of underselling it. But that being said, people are reviewing it as though it is a movie. So we figured we'd go through some sound bites from critics.
Exactly. Currently, the film has an 88%. 87%.
Has it gone up since?
It went up a tiny bit since you made that image just a little while ago.
That's okay. I spent so much time on that image.
It looks like you're blowing up the numbers, so I think it works. Canonically, it's okay.
I got the review score 80%, 87% right. It's only 88%. So just somebody take a dry erase marker, put on your screen.
Yeah.
So it's still good. It's passing. It's a nice B+, Dad will take you to get tacos.
They haven't counted Roger's review yet, so it might drop.
Thank you. There we go.
Look at that.
Yes, fix it and post. Yes.
All right.
Yes, our guys in the studio. We obviously make a high-budget production here at Up at Noon. We do really good
You love
job.
special effects.
Yes.
You love Avengers Infinity.
So they're always doing weird stuff with the graphics back there. That is the first time that's ever actually been useful.
That's great.
That is the first time we've ever practically used the in-studio graphics stuff to change the score. Great.
Yeah, usually they just put Yoda's ass on my mouth or something
exactly,
like that. That's great. Let's talk about the reviews for this movie.
So they're good. They're good. Some people are like, I'm tired of the Marvel movies. Birth, movies, death. I love that some people just get shot out of the theater. They're like, the best Marvel film ever. The most complete, the most emotional, and the most thrilling. Good Lord.
That rules.
That's that's like I feel like you gotta. Everything has been building towards this, so sure, some people are going to be stoked on it.
Do you know how awesome that is to hear after Black Panther, which was awesome, and Thor Ragnarok, which was awesome? Like, those are two of my favorite of all the Marvel movies, and these guys are like, this one's better. And I'm like, what? Like, that put chills down my spine.
Of course, they probably also wrote it, like 10 minutes after seeing it, and they're just like, you get all gassed up and excited, and that's fine.
That's
but,
cool.
Maybe we're going to be saying that this is like, the 7th best one in 10 years or whatever. Like, Infinity War, it's fine. It slots between Doctor Strange 4 and Spider-Man 5 or whatever.
That's okay.
Chicago Tribune, on the other hand, said 10 years ago this month, the Marvel Universe was launched with the fresh, lively, relatively easygoing Iron Man. It seems more like 100. Okay, well, it sounds like you don't enjoy the Marvel films. I mean, the thing about Iron Man is that it does work as a single movie. It is a movie.
Yeah.
Because back then we didn't know what the MCU was. That wasn't a thing yet. They hadn't started building towards these massive kind of, conglomerates of films.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. Yeah, they're different. They're different things. It's fine to kind of compare the two, but it sounds like Mr. Chicago Tribune here. It's a weird name. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that person was born in Chicago or if that's the publication. Anyway, I wonder if that person is just sick of superhero movies, and if so, maybe I don't know. Maybe to go to a movie and be reviewing a movie like it's a movie when really it's kind of part of this bigger thing.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on that ideology, because I think at the end of the day, like, you buy a movie ticket, you sit down, you see a movie, and this one specifically, you're seeing half of the culmination of one story. And what a lot of people have indicated is that this does end very cliffhangery, which I think is okay. I mean, one of my favorite movies of all time is Back to the Future 2, and that movie ended like with a thing that said "to be concluded."
Sure.
So there's ways that can work.
I don't know, if you go to a sushi restaurant, you order like a sushi roll, and you think it's a burrito, that's probably not a very good burrito, because it's not a burrito, it's sushi. It's a different thing. These are like cereals, These are not like breakfast, but like they're serialized. So it's like, obviously it should stand on its own as a movie, but again, what were you expecting?
What if you order the sushi and then you order another sushi and they're like, that'll be out in 2 years?
It's a slow restaurant. That's not a great.
That's not good.
Anyway,
don't go to that place.
So Den of Geeks says this is a knockout sci-fi movie that travels around the universe and back, and not only does it capture the vastness of that, but it also is perhaps the most beautiful, colorful film Marvel has released to date.
That rules.
This makes me happy. Obviously, looking at this graphic that I manipulated with my fonts, it is very colorful, and we've been seeing that kind of increasingly. If you look at even just the Marvel movie logos lined up in like a timeline, they go from being like these sort of like heavy. I think Iron Man early on was very gold and red, but then it was like heavy, like Captain America. It's all like gray and metallic.
Right.
And then you get to Thor Ragnarok, and it looks like a blacklight poster.
Yeah.
And then Black Panther has like this almost like holographic shimmer over it. And
Yeah,
then
like Wakanda is a beautiful setting, so that's really cool.
This is a movie about people collecting like rainbow gems. It's a nice. We got the whole gauntlet here. It's just cropped out of the shot. I'm gonna get that out here. It's gonna make some noises. Get ready for it. You hear that? Yeah, you're gonna hear that in the big screen tonight, Dolby Surround. Anyway, moving on. Detroit news. It's too much. Too many characters, too much action. It's a superhero surplus with too many heroes and not enough screen. It's infinity overload. Again, you were warned, Like, I feel like look at the poster, dude. I don't know. Obviously, the problem here is that it's sort of the problem. It's bittersweet. These are all these characters that have been kind of matched up and put together.
Yeah.
And it's a spectacle. It's about putting them together and throwing them on screen together.
Let's give a little bit of of positivity to these people who are writing these reviews, because I think I don't want to discredit anyone saying anything negative about this film, because it's that we get into hyperbole territory. But yeah, again, like, that is one of the biggest fears I think even the biggest comic book fans have, is when you come into a situation like this and it's sort of like this buffet, like, maybe you don't get the best version. Like, if I really love Spider-Man, maybe I'm not going to get a ton of Spider-Man in this movie. Maybe I'll get a little bit of Spider-Man.
That's fair. I like the idea that the only people who have speaking roles are the ones we've seen talking in trailers, and everyone else just stands there quietly. That would be like such a really weird letdown if you're like, Doctor Strange doesn't speak or whatever.
Well, so if we're going with the buffet thing, the thing I'm most excited about this movie is like taking a little bit of Chinese food and a little bit of pizza and then some hot sauce and some other stuff and mixing in a bunch of stuff together. That sounds disgusting, but I'd eat it. But mixing a bunch of stuff together that we've never seen before, right? Like, we haven't really seen the Guardians interact with Spider-Man, and we haven't really seen Ant-Man fight Thanos.
That is the underlying appeal of Marvel Comics, period.
Yeah.
That's the entire thing that they did that made them stand apart from DC was the idea of a cohesive universe. So yeah, I'm excited about that. But yeah, New York Post said all the past decades Marvel movies have been heading toward this showdown. Turns out the payoff was worth the wait.
Sweet.
That's good to hear. That's the kind of thing that I'm like, that and it being colorful are sort of like, yeah, I'm not expecting necessarily my new favorite movie, but if it's something that sort of respects my time and does a really good job of playing with all the action figures that it's put in the sandbox, then that's good to hear. And then Slate says, sitting through its 2 hours and 30 minutes is like gorging on tapas. You wind up both overstuffed and unsatisfied.
Huh.
I get that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was saying with the buffet thing. It's sort of like you get a bunch of small little bite-sized things that all add up to one big meal.
Yeah. Again, like tapas are, that's like it's a nice, it's nice like sort of like Spanish appetizer plates. It's a good thing. This is like a big dumbass American cheeseburger of a movie, you know? Like this is like one of those like prank foods that they put out at like KFC where they're like, it's a pancake burrito stuffed with waffle nuggets or whatever.
Yeah, like where if you finish it, you get a shirt.
Exactly. Yeah, this is to treat this as though it's a fancy restaurant where they even have like real plates. Come on, let's be realistic here. It's so I don't know. I still that does make sense. It's, you've got too many toys in the film.
This is hand food.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm. What do we got? One more. This one I like. This one. This is very dry. Associated Press says, after 10 years of lean, threadbare, Lilliputian tales, Marvel Studios has, thank heavens, finally decided to go big.
Yeah.
That's like, I like that they're just throwing a little bit of shade there. That it's like, yeah, they've always been pretty loud and stupid.
Yeah.
They're getting louder and stupider than ever here.
I like that joke a lot. I Covington in the chat says, the new Avengers movie is going to be like a Wu-Tang concert in space. I'm into that. I'm really into that, especially because it's like you'll have the original members, the producers, like the main MCs who put out amazing solo albums, and then a bunch of like their guys who just hold the weed for them so they don't get arrested.
Yeah. I like that.
You need those men though. They all have their own albums if you're bored.
Yeah. You get to go find out what Teenage Groot is up to. Just get the limited edition spin-off comic.
It's called Thor 2.
Anyway, I think at the end of the day, I hate to say this, it doesn't really matter what anyone thinks of Avengers. Like it doesn't matter because it's here. It's a massive monolithic thing and it's not hurting anybody. So the fact that a lot of people are getting all gassed up about it and having a good time and don't spoil it.
Yeah.
Don't spoil it.
Don't be a little turd, you dirty boy.
Who wrote this? We've got something in our prompter here from probably Jordan, I'm guessing. Again, if you're seeing Star Traversal Infinity Force today, be nice and don't spoil it because the Parkhurst brothers will hunt you down and take all your shirt buttons and make you eat them.
Oh man, that's gross.
Okay. Jordan makes our intros, and that's Dan, who's our producer, and these. Okay, yeah, all right.
That's taking an amazing.
All right, just walk in front of the camera
there
or
he
whatever.
Is. He's allowed to do that.
Yeah.
That's very. I agree with that. It's also taking a tremendous leap in logic that you assume that the kind of people that would spoil this movie are classy enough to wear button-down shirts.
Yeah, joke's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another big superhero reveal we got this week was we got our first Venom trailer. I love that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is like, our biggest movie is here finally, and Sony was like, hey, what if Evil Spider-Man had a trailer? Well, we've got that, slipping it in just
Interesting
the night before.
enough, Venom is one of the 5 movies that will be released this year that will have the Marvel logo in the front of it. So, MCU or not, to the average idiot, it's a Marvel film.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's get the positive stuff out of the way. I'm way more interested in this movie based on this trailer than I was the first trailer. I think that's universal.
Yeah.
Right? This trailer did a great job of recontextualizing a lot of the stuff we saw in the first trailer, extending it, expanding it, and then showing us the symbiote.
Oh,
not the
excuse me.
symbiote.
No, excuse me.
Nope.
Everyone knows it is the alien symbiote costume. The famous costume of Venom.
I love this symbiote.
So yeah, this looks really good. The one thing that I think has a lot of people sort of scratching their heads is they mispronounced symbiote.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Tom Hardy in this movie is not a believable news reporter. I'll say that. He's a believable guy that dies in the first 10 minutes of a bank heist movie. He's like got a part New York, Boston accent, but he's in San Francisco and he's like, hey, I gotta do some stuff, be a news reporter, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I got spider blood inside me, it's been real all day. And then we got that great shot from the Full House theme song. So the cool thing here is like, It sounds like we're pooping on it. The actual Venom parts of Venom look really cool. I'm less interested in the Mr. Fantastic-y stuff when he's on a motorcycle and he loses it and he's like, I can grab it with my long arms.
Yeah.
And I'm more interested in when we see his dilapidated teeth rows, hopefully tearing into some awful men in cops.
That's like my big hang up with this is that this movie is still, it's what, like October it's coming out, I think? It's still a ways off. They're showing us a lot.
That's a lot of bracelets.
I think less is more in this situation, and clearly the reason we didn't get a good look at Venom in the first teaser trailer is that the CG wasn't quite ready yet.
Yeah, probably.
We're getting a look at him actually doing all this stuff here. The thing that really does worry me is that Venom is, like, we're going to see him in a second. If you haven't seen him yet, you're in for an awesome treat because he looks just utterly kick-ass. It looks like Venom. It looks like he's actually properly, like, ripped, like unlike the Sam Raimi Venom, who just looked like a weird angry Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They got the look down. I'm worried that they're going to do the thing they did with Cyborg in Justice League where they were like, ah, crap, the costume is too expensive to animate all the time. Let's put him in a sweatshirt for most of the movie, which seems like kind of what's happening.
Yes.
Or the 1997 Spawn movie where they realized that the CG wasn't ready for his cape, which was entirely CG. So wait, here it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And it, like, okay, it looks a little Kermit the Froggy. He's a little puppety. It's a weird thing to see those jowls flapping around. But to be straight honest with you, I think my biggest issue with the tonal inconsistency of this film is that Eddie Brock is an awful man, or at least is supposed to be, right? This is a disgusting escaped convict prisoner guy, and instead it's this sort of heartwarming tale about this down and out journalist who's really trying to, like, crack the code. Like, Eddie Brock is not April O'Neil. Like, Eddie Brock is
No.
I don't know, like a cannibal in prison. Like, he's horrible. And so they're growing us into thinking that he's this guy that we're supposed to really, like, care for, and I hope he goes full evil.
He's a bully. He's like Peter Parker's adult bully who then gets, like, super duper powers.
Yeah.
And then sort of becomes like
Alexia says that the guys back there are saying that you guys are thinking of Carnage, maybe?
No. Eddie Brock is a prisoner.
no, he's not. That's Carnage.
Isn't
You're
Eddie,
thinking of
Eddie Brock
Carnage.
Eddie Brock goes to jail.
No, I mean at some point probably.
Yeah.
but no,
Yeah, but-
no. Eddie Brock is Peter Parker's coworker. I got to drag you out in the streets for this. You're gonna get scolded by the computer.
That's fine.
No,
He
but
goes
like
Eddie Brock goes to jail. You can pull up
Eddie
pictures of it,
Brock's
drawings.
he probably does go to jail. He's kind of a dick. Like that's sort of his thing. Is he's just sort of like he's just a mean man, and he happens to really hate Peter Parker. So and then he gets the alien symbiote after Peter's like, this is bad for me. I don't want this. I'm a good guy, and then he sort of kind of takes it and we've got let's see. Advander in our chat says, I just hate the CGI and the tentacles. Otherwise, it looks okay. I love Tom.
Yeah.
So the CG in this is, I think, really the big concern thing. So obviously, Tom Hardy, Eddie Brock, whoever the hell he is, interesting as a character. But the thing that people want in this movie
it's what
is
you're
Venom.
paying for.
You want Venom. You want
Yeah.
Venom. You want him to do the. He has the teeth and he jumps around and he's got the tentacles and it's cool. But if it's just Tom Hardy in a sweatshirt leaping around,
I just don't buy this guy as like a likable hero, and I don't think that he can stand on his own for an entire film without Spider-Man being there. And I think that this movie is going to end, they're going to roll the credits, and there's going to be a stinger where Venom looks up at a television and he sees Peter Parker, and that, for most people, will be enough. But I just don't know if this will stand on its own. I think it looks cool. I think there's some interesting stuff happening. Whether or not like you buy Eddie Brock as a hero or Venom as a hero or whatever it is.
So we're obviously paying a lot of attention to Deadpool because the new one's coming out, and Deadpool's sort of an example of that too. Is it's a character who really he thrives when he's interacting with other characters in that universe. In the case of Venom, like Deadpool's he's like I'm not a good guy. I'm a bad guy who messes up worse guys.
Yeah.
Venom is kind of also that. He's the lethal enforcer, and so the idea of Venom being he's less of an evil man than Carnage, so he fights Carnage, and that's exciting. But at the same time, Venom's not goodness is accentuated by Spider-Man being present. And in the case of the Deadpool movie, which again was kind of like playing with, like they didn't have really a full swath of characters to use. They had some of the X-Men show up to be like, be good. And then there's Ajax there being like, I'm really evil. And Deadpool's kind of in the middle and you get like, oh, here's his moral compass. I hope that Carnage is really the proper villain here and that we get like maybe this trailer that we've seen is just stuff from like the first act of the movie and it's kind of early Venom, and then the later end of the movie is like, I don't know, a bunch of symbiotes running around and Venom fighting them. That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But yeah, I just aside from Venom, that one shot, I don't really know who's in this movie exactly. So
Yeah, I don't either. It also just feels like Sony being like, what do we do?
yeah.
What do we make? Where's Spider-Man?
Yeah.
He's not here. So
I really wish they would just continue
make a film about his friend.
playing ball with Marvel. Anyway,
Yes.
so yeah, I think that I'm cautiously optimistic about Venom. I think they got Venom right. I'll give them that. They got
Yeah.
Venom right. Just make him more than a man in a sweatshirt. Because
I agree.
He's really a man in an angry garbage bag when you get down to it.
Let's talk about dinosaurs.
Let's talk about dinosaurs. So Jurassic World is one of the big movies this summer. Fallen Kingdom, because we left numbered sequels a long time ago. They've already confirmed that Jurassic World 3 is a thing that's slated for, I think, June 11th, 2020, 2019, maybe, I don't know. Whatever. It's they've got a date for it picked out already. We haven't even seen the second one, so I don't really know where this apparent trilogy is going. Jurassic World 3 co-director, the guy who also worked on the first one, Colin Trevorrow, who's directing third one and also helped writing it, he had this quote that really sort of bugged me. He says, if I could contextualize each film, I would say Jurassic World was an action-adventure, Fallen Kingdom is kind of a horror suspense film, and Jurassic World 3 will be a science thriller in the same way that Jurassic Park was. I think it's dangerous to try to compare these movies to the originals, because the thing that's worth noting about Jurassic Park, the original, is that it was a groundbreaking achievement in filmmaking. It wasn't just like a cool movie that people liked. It was like there was a kind of a dual layer thing happening there where audiences saw that movie and they were like, holy crap, those dinosaurs look real. And
Right.
the people on the screen are like, holy crap, you made dinosaurs. So there's this kind of like double whammy thing there. But since then, special effects have caught up, and it's like it's not weird or crazy to see dinosaurs in a movie.
No.
Like
no.
CG is so far removed from where it was when the original Jurassic Park came out, and short of making, I don't know, something on the scale of like Avatar, which again, you can't make the first Avatar again. It's always going to be compared to the original.
To back you up on this, CG is such a moving target that the CG in the trailer for Jurassic World was different than the CG in the film, and the CG for the raptors in Fallen Kingdom in that trailer are different than they are in the new trailer.
And again,
So
they're also trying to stress that they want to use a lot of practical effects here.
Yes.
But like short of actually using live dinosaurs that they've cloned, they're never going to have the wonder and the magic of the first Jurassic Park. So to try to be like, hey, great news everybody, Jurassic Park 6 is going to be a real spiritual successor to Jurassic Park. And it's like, it's not, no man, like, you're missing the point of that. I think that they've forgotten how silly these movies are, you know? Like I think they're kind of drinking their own Kool-Aid there, and it's like I'm willing to give Fallen Kingdom the benefit of the doubt, but Jurassic World was a literal theme park ride.
Yeah.
It was a fun time, it was a fun adventure, but like I don't think they're ever going to recapture that original Spielberg magic and that sense of mystery and wonder that you got with the first one.
Yeah.
So why bother? Why try?
Well, because it's fun to see dinosaurs tear stuff up, and I don't think that anyone does that as well as they do. And you could make another dinosaur movie.
No, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they shouldn't try. I'm just saying that the tone is like to be like, yeah, we're going for like a kind of a nice science thriller. Like the reason that the original Jurassic Park didn't have more dinosaurs jumping around and tearing stuff up is that it wasn't technically possible at that point.
Right.
But we could have like I don't know, they could make a Jurassic World where you turn on the sink and dinosaurs start coming out of the sink. And they look realistic because that's where we're at with special effects right now. So like it's not about what they're showing us. Like they're making monster movies, but to protect, like Spielberg always made sort of subverted monster movies. Like Jaws worked because it was a shark movie where the shark was scary. Like it was like it was what you didn't see that worked. And Jurassic World worked or Jurassic Park worked because the dinosaurs seemed so real and it was a very grounded, universe. They're making goofy ass monster movie sequels. Like this is a horror movie with the dinosaurs in it. That's like they invented a new dinosaur for
This
it.
looks like a Dino Crisis movie trailer, which
Yeah.
I'm okay with. I think I totally see what you're saying. I think that what's happening here is that the core themes of Jurassic World, or at least dinosaurs in general, and this is very rudimentary, is that some of them are vicious monsters and some of them are sweet vegans. And
Sweet vegans.
And when you watch the movie, that dichotomy, the original film, is constantly present, right? It starts with shots of brontosauruses walking around. You see that as the first dinosaurs you see. You see a very sick Triceratops. And then you see a T-Rex tear apart a carcass, basically.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing. But then throughout that entire chase sequence, like there's a scene where they wake up and the brontosauruses are there again, right? And they're sweet and they're nurturing and they're wonderful. This movie has taken that, or this new sort of direction for this trilogy has taken that and has given Chris Pratt friendly raptors, and now they're buddy with a T-Rex in the truck and stuff like that, which we saw a little in the Lost World, right, where they had a baby dinosaur. So I think that sort of they push the extremes of how evil and how dangerous things are, and then how friendly they are, and they've kind of mushed them all together, which is kind of mixing up the core themes of what this film should be about. I had a weird experience with Jurassic World because when I saw it in theaters, I had the time of my life. I loved it.
Yeah.
And I walked out, and I didn't really think about it. I was like, it was a blast. I started reading reviews. I was like, most people are kind of upset about like how it's pretty flimsy and it's pretty stupid and a lot of stuff's dumb. And I was like, I don't buy that. And I watched it again at home, and I think removed from the sort of the giant kind of camaraderie of being in a movie theater and clapping and cheering, having my wife sit next to me screaming at the dinosaurs and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, this is kind of a flimsy, stupid movie. But there's still a lot of it that I enjoy, and I think just the idea of creating scenarios where awful men and good people get together to help like either kill or save or, rescue dinosaurs or fight them, whatever it is interesting. It's interesting conflict, and there's cool scenarios in there. I'm a little worried about where this goes because I think it's, again, so far removed from what the original is going for or went for, and just the fact that this was once about a theme park it's now basically just about dinosaurs in the world, which is okay.
Yeah, but they're still not quite there yet because they're still kind of keeping it reined in. Like dinosaurs haven't taken over. I think that's the direction they're going.
I think that's the misleading direction they're going because Colin Trevorrow has been saying specifically that a lot of the trailers haven't shown us much of where the movie is past the first half.
If it gets totally off the rails, I'm pretty excited about that.
Me too. I mean, this could start. Could pull the camera out and it could show chaos globally.
Yeah.
When we first started hearing about this film, we heard about that weird thing about competing companies fighting over dino DNA, right? Like the Apple and Android.
Yeah, I mean, give me the recent Planet of the Apes trilogy, but with dinosaurs.
Yeah,
like that's kind of cool to see that slow escalation. But it's weird to have it attached to Jurassic Park, which is so sort of like it's small. It's like it's a horror movie set on an island. It's very much like contained, and it's just kind of weird how we're 5 movies in and they've still mostly been contained to islands. It's kind of like, well, stop going to the island. Just don't go there.
Yeah.
Kill the dinosaurs or whatever. Just don't go to. It's after a certain point, you're like, okay, we get it.
It's interesting. I mean, I think wherever they're going with this, it's different than the originals, which is okay, but it's also way better than the stuff they pitched between then and now, which was stuff like militarized dinosaurs, hybrid human people dinosaurs. There was a lot of, if you dig into the deep end of what they'd sort of had on the back burner for the Jurassic Park franchise for a long time, what we're getting right now is way better than a lot of those like sort of alternate failed ideas.
I mean, when I saw Jurassic World, the first one, it immediately felt to me like the same kind of remixing of plot points that The Force Awakens did. But what's different is that the familiarity and kind of nostalgia I have for Star Wars movies, that's a different galaxy. That's like a galaxy far, far away, and it's anything they can do over there. It's like if they explain it, it's magical, and I'll believe it. In the case of Jurassic Park, that's our galaxy that just happens to have dinosaurs in it.
Yeah.
And if the whole premise of that galaxy or of that universe that they're building in there is that the dinosaurs are doing new stuff, it doesn't really. There's only after a certain point, like the dinosaurs really have to up the ante for me to be impressed. Yeah. And to hear that Colin Trevorrow is trying to scale things back and go back to the first one is not what I want to hear. You gotta go bigger or go home. So, yeah. On the subject of kind of remixing Hollywood movies and everything, we've gotten a couple trailers for beloved franchises' latest installments. Specifically, I want to talk about Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom and Solo: A Star Wars Story, which are movies that are scored not by John Williams, but they're using elements of scores for the original movies that he did score. John Williams, obviously one of the most kind of iconic, famous composers in cinema history. I heard a great anecdote the other day where Spielberg showed John Williams an early cut of Schindler's List, and he was like, I want you to score this. And John Williams goes, I don't know if I'm a good enough composer for this. And Spielberg's like, you're right, but all the other composers who are good enough are dead. So take it away, you know? Basically, the problem I have with the new trailers for Jurassic World and Solo is that they have this very like Hans Zimmer Junkie XL vibe to it, like this kind of like, like it's very, very Michael Bay-ish. That's still trying to weave in bits of John Williams' original scores.
I mean, I feel like the sort of Christopher Nolan Inception horn is still echoing in every trailer we've seen for the last
trailer noise.
Yeah, the trailer noise.
I think we actually have some of these queued up we can listen to. Solo: A Star Wars Story is it's scored by John Campbell, who did the Bourne series, the Identity, Ultimatum, all that stuff, as well as Shrek and How to Train Your Dragon.
Interesting.
And you can hear this sort of the cue that I'm talking about. Let's see if we can play that. Like,
chill, cool it.
Yeah, like I love the Star Wars music. A lot of people love the Star Wars. You hear those notes, and you're like, I'm a kid again. I get those chills. I get that vibe.
That sounds like a car commercial.
What is that?
I don't know.
Let's hear it again. It's awful.
Available at Preakness Chevrolet, 0 powertrain warranty and $50 down per month. Ride in today.
Yeah. So again, also these are noises they're playing in commercials. It's not necessarily what the actual score is going to sound like. Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, on the other hand, it's scored by Michael. How do you say that? Giacchino. Giacchino. I've been mispronouncing it in my head the whole time. He did Rogue One. He did Up, a bunch of other Pixar stuff, and basically everything that J.J. Abrams has done, he did. And he's a wonderful composer, but again, he's sort of like playing with. The existing score of John Williams' thing.
To give the man credit, he had like 3.5 weeks to do the stuff for Rogue One, and what he came out with was like pretty damn good.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things in there that I was kind of like, huh, that's odd.
So no, this is for Jurassic World. Let's hear this. So, yeah, like that's of course taking little beats from the whole John Williams. Oh my God, it's a dinosaur! Yeah. Like that's such a wonderful swelling. Like it's very whimsical. It's magical. And they're like, yeah, but what if
it was played with a car door?
What if you were trying to beat the crap out of this song?
Yeah, it's just like gunshots and pistons and
yeah, and it's awesome to have that stuff in the movie, but like it's that they're trying to like remix these things that are obviously they're trying to market Solo as an action movie, and they're trying to market Fallen Kingdom as more of like an action horror movie, but those tones are like very different from what John Williams was doing with those original scores. So like maybe just move away from that entirely,
Yeah.
Like I don't know what they're.
It sounds very Monday Night Football.
Yeah,
like
again, the actual movies might be presented totally differently because this is, of course, like marketing stuff.
Sure, of course.
But I think like it sucks to see them trying to like modernize something so much that at the same time is also hinging on people's nostalgia for something old. Like people hear the Jurassic Park theme and they're like, oh my God, yeah, I'm like 8 again. You hear the Star Wars theme and you're like, oh yes, I love that. And Solo is not even going to have an opening crawl, right? Like it's not going to have that.
I mean, if anything with the word story is indication, and Rogue One didn't, then this won't either. Which is yeah. I honestly feel like some of the most awkward moments I've had in a movie theater since I was like a teenager. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Was like when Rogue One started, and that a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away thing popped up, and then it just transitioned to that run.
Yeah.
And then like it panned down, and then that weird Rogue One thing tumbled in and spun around, and it was like it just started playing this weird stabby kind of John Williams-y stuff. And so it's like it's either like go all the way over here and get away from it, or just nail it.
And they do have parts in the Rogue One score that I think come really close to what John Williams is doing. But in the case of Solo, like based on what I've sort of picked up on this movie, I wish they were like leaning more into the sort of 70s vibe of it, and they were like maybe give us something kind of like something like Ocean's 11-y, something kind of bank heisty.
Yeah.
I kind of you've got like young Lando Calrissian, like give me like kind of like a funk vibe to it. They're giving everyone like 70s hair, so like do something that sounds like it's from the 70s, not something that sounds like it's from the DCEU. It's like that the slamming car doors and the Junkie XL like wah, 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 like it's weird and out of place. And in I don't know, in Fallen Kingdom, like just if you're gonna make it sound like a horror movie, just leave the John Williams Pelican music on the side there.
Speaking of terrifying animals from the past who have come back to haunt us, they're making a live-action Winnie the Pooh movie, and it looks incredible. Christopher Robin is the new movie with Ewan McGregor as the star of it. We got some new some new photos from some stills this week exclusively to Entertainment Weekly, so thank you guys over there for those. And this movie looks fantastic. I'm a huge Winnie the Pooh fan, or at least I was growing up. I didn't really catch up enough these days, or like, I don't know, get a piglet tattoo on my butt or anything like that, like a lot of modern Pooh fans do. But there's something really whimsical and wonderful about this film. I'm warped, just roll with it. And I really like the way this looks. Let's pull this up again. So Ewan McGregor in this film, it takes place in 1949. He plays Christopher Robin, who is, the boy who basically created all these characters in his head or connected them with them in some capacity. And he is now an efficiency manager at a luggage company. And he's having a rough lunch break and a bad day, and he looks up from a park bench, and his childhood toy has come to life to return to see him. So it's kind of like Hook or Drop Dead Fred, or maybe like a really gentle Ted. So this is
Ted.
Yeah, Gentle Ted. This is his awful day-to-day, completely removed of all the whimsy and joy that you have of being a child. He's got a daughter who obviously has, is still in that world, but he's gone from it. He's lost. And I think Disney explores this theme a lot. We see it a lot with some of their older characters. If you look at something like Up, it's about this guy who basically is shunning innocence in childhood and adolescence, and he's grumpy until some little boy comes in his life, and might as well be Winnie the Pooh in this scenario. But Ewan McGregor is Christopher Robin as an old man in this story, and we've seen that explored. Domhnall Gleeson played him in a movie last year, but to this direction, straight up, with this ratty, adorable Pooh.
I am gonna barf tears out of my eyes watching this movie.
It's so great. I mean, we're getting little shades of Paddington here, but this is if you don't feel something seeing that, you're a replicant or a dead person.
Yeah, you just failed the void comp test.
Yeah,
You're gonna be
it's just
higher.
horrible. So,
But look, he got those friends too.
yeah, so let's read the synopsis here. It's basically, in the heartwarming Christopher Robin, the young boy who embarked on countless adventures in the 100-acre wood with his band of spirited and lovable stuffed animals, has grown up and lost his way. Now, it's up to his childhood friends to venture into our world and help Christopher Robin remember the loving and playful boy who is still inside. That sounds gross. But look at these characters here.
Look at these wrecks.
So
I love them.
There's Pooh and Piglet and Eeyore and Tigger, and what I love about them is that they are very, very, very toy-like. They look like something that would actually be on a shelf or in an old antique shop, right? They look used. They look old.
I feel like they kind of tweaked the Disney designs a little bit to make them more like stuffed animals that would have existed in 1949, as opposed to the more 90s aesthetic. They don't look like you bought them at the Disney store. They look like they were sold at some funky old British toy shop.
Yeah. So Ewan McGregor, who plays Christopher Robin in the movie, says in those older stories, Christopher Robin purveys a lot of wisdom, and through the way he deals with Pooh and Eeyore run through a lot of philosophical questions, and Christopher Robin is there to answer them somehow. And I think that's largely he's just lost any of that childish wisdom, and he's a bit stuck. He's just very work-minded and doesn't have any time for play. I suppose that's what the film's about, finding his relationship with his younger self again. So that's obviously a theme that keeps running there, but I think that something that's important to bring up here, that you talk about there, the sort of philosophical questions, is that Winnie the Pooh and his merry band of weirdos that he hangs out with are all fundamentally broken.
Oh, they're
people.
a wreck. They're awful.
They are neurotic, depressed, self-indulged, food addicted. Tigger is basically on coke, if we're going to get to the brunt of it.
No, they're like a residential treatment center full of stuffed animals.
Yeah, and I mean, this is not like a novel theory. The entire books and theories have been written about how sort of the Pooh characters represent all the different psychosis and neuroses that adults go through. And it's really interesting to perceive it from that perspective, because I think that taking those tendencies and approaching an adult who's removed from his innocence and having a childlike toy remind him of what's really wrong with him is really interesting. I have been connected to the Winnie the Pooh stories and franchise and series since I was a little kid. There was a show I watched when I was very, very young. It'd be kind
of weird if you got into Winnie the Pooh last year.
Yeah, that'd be weird. I think we have footage of it here, but this was the first Winnie the Pooh show that I watched. It was in, do we have this? We should. Maybe not. We do. It's somewhere. So the first show I ever watched about Winnie the Pooh was basically a live action show on the Disney show where they walked around matte paintings that were based on the illustrations from the books. The toys on the shelf here effectively came to life. These were costume men, and it used puppets and green screens and all sorts of stuff. But what I liked about it was that unlike Sesame Street or something like that, this almost entirely took place in this world, in the 100 Acre Wood, which was a fake, imagined place, but believable enough to be real because, you know, it's the woods. But all these characters would interact, and they were kind of nightmarish because, you know, Pooh at the end of the day is a pretty selfish, gluttonous man, and then you know, Piglet is just out of her mind, and Rabbit is basically a control freak, completely insane. The Owl is the most actually dude on the internet. Like Eeyore is constantly bummed out and suicidal. Like there's a lot to unpack here. But in being introduced to those characters at such a young age taught me. One, to kind of look at the toys on my own shelf in a way that I hadn't until Toy Story again. But two, to really respect the artistry and craft that went into this world. And I think there's something incredibly timeless about it. And so seeing it revisited and being brought out for a brand new audience and generation makes me really happy.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about this, knowing what it's about, the Christopher Robin movie. I mean, I thought it was, so if you read the old Winnie the Pooh books, the whole thing is that he's reading, or like the author A.A. Milne is like reading story or making up stories for like a young kid who I think is Christopher Robin, and it's like basically making up stories about his stuffed animals. I thought it was something like that, like it was Finding Never Neverland or whatever, or they did like a Beatrix Potter movie that was Mrs. Potter. I thought it was about like sort of that meta story of like, oh, the author, like the grown-ups don't care about the actual stuffed animals, they want a story about how the books got made. I'm like, that's cool, I guess, but no, it's actually like, I like that it's basically Ted but heartfelt.
Yeah.
We are both major champions of the Paddington films. Paddington 2 is coming out real soon. Everyone, please go see it. I think it's sort of the Godfather 2 of Paddington movies.
Yeah, you can
everyone,
rent that. That's
everyone
on
keeps
digital
thinking
now.
we're joking about Paddington. Those are good movies. You got to go see Paddington and Paddington 2. But no, like I'm happy to see this kind of trend. This looks like an earnest movie. This looks like a very genuine, heartfelt movie that's not just trying to be like, you know, saccharine or like a quick cash in. It looks like it's made for, you know, generations of people who grew up with Winnie the Pooh. So
yeah, it's also kind of like a really warped like Obi-Wan and Chewbacca film in some ways, which I'm kind of into. Get that man back with his girlfriend. Hell yeah.
Right. Gotta tie it into Star Wars somehow.
I do, because coming up next, we are talking about the ultimate Star Wars toy, the Dewback. The Dewback is here, and I don't know what he is. He's sort of a frog cow, and we love him. And they've been making them for a very long time, if you want to bring in the very large one we have here.
Yeah. This one's Belinda.
So Dewbacks are great because they, first of all, it's one of the first truly beast-like creatures you see in Star Wars, right? I think that when you're watching A New Hope as a little kid or whatever it is, you see some droids, you see some men in space, you see Darth Vader, you don't really know what's going on, but then you see a Dewback and you're like, oh, this is a weird place.
Yeah.
You know, I think he really represents something, or she represents something really special about this franchise. So let's talk about this one here, because you've had this.
Yeah, this is a Power of the Force 2 Action Collection Dewback, which was this came out, I believe, 2000, and it came with a Sand Trooper who looked all goofy because the action collection was like the 12-inch dolls. The Dewback itself, the dinosaur's got this big squishy tail, which is full of chemical scented air. It makes like a weird whistling noise when you do that.
You put your nose next to it, and it's like a very gross tough.
No, I got this on eBay or Amazon, and it came in a box about the size of like a child's coffin, and it was just like, I think the reason it was like stupidly cheap. It was like $50 when you're laughing about dead kids.
What is wrong with you?
Sick man.
Say that. You made the.
I opened the box, and it smelled like a tire factory. Like it was just weird chemicals that had been in there for 17 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. This is a good sturdy toy. We have it on the set a lot.
I don't know what it is. Is it a toad or a cow
It's like
or both?
It's a big dinosaur.
You know, we don't know. We don't know. So right next to that, let's take a look at its tiniest friend. Let's sneak that one out.
Of course, I don't think you can see it there. It's
small.
super
tiny. Let's
real small.
Get in there real good.
Can you see it?
These are the original Micro Machines.
Yeah, so we've got one from the regular Micro Machines, and then of course there's the Action Fleet, which was like the posable ones.
These boys are. Can we get
Zoom in on the little tiny dinosaurs, please. We're trying to show them off. Can you see just like zoom in on your?
There we go.
Okay.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
look at those cuties.
So yeah, these ones had little figurines that we got on there.
So-
We don't really care about the sand troopers. We care more about the Dewbacks themselves.
What I like about Dewback toys is that they all look like they were based on different people's memories of drawings of Dewbacks. So they're all slightly different. These are kind of similar. They look like different versions of each other, but they're completely different colors.
I love how sad this one looks.
Sliding in over here, we have the Lego Dewback.
This is actually a bootleg Lego Dewback.
Oh.
The real one is Lego doesn't really make a lot of, or at least not for like the beasts and stuff. They don't really make a lot of shiny pieces. I got this on eBay, and it's real. It's like a real fake one. It had like a bridle, but it snapped off suddenly. It's a really bad toy based on the actual one is cool, but it came with some set that they put out like once and now goes for like $200 for whatever reason, because Lego's frustrating like that. But yeah, this one, I mean, I still like the shape of it. It fits in there pretty well.
Over here, I just bought this one last week in Portland at a store called Billy Galaxy. Shout out to Billy. You guys should go check this out. This is the original Dewback. This is the first one they ever made.
Yep.
This came out in, what, 78?
I'll check you. 79.
79. So like, let's take a look at his belly here. It just really looks like a frog's belly. It's great.
I like how happy he is.
Yeah,
Look at
he's
his-
got a
look at
good
his little
smile.
face. Nice smile.
And they have a hole in their back for your fingers to get jammed in.
Yeah, the figures they made at the time, they didn't have the ability to like squat and they didn't know what to do, so Kenner just made they just made a hole.
Let's stick that Greedo in there.
Can you imagine how disgusting that would be? It would be like a kangaroo.
I love him a lot. Speaking of kangaroos.
So the funny thing, and they actually, this one also had that. Yeah. They made a different version of the Tauntaun that had like a large.
You gotta show the puppet, not the puppeteer. What the hell?
Who runs this show?
I don't know. Idiots.
Yeah, they made another one that had
Same people that sit on the set right here.
We'll talk about
Big
Tauntauns
goats.
another time. But you guys got to see this. Look at this. Stop doing that. We're trying to talk about the plastic lizards, for God's
Let's
sake.
get a good look at those boys, those big idiots. Hey, there they are. It's Tauntauns that noisy.
We have all these nice toys to show off, and you're showing the men.
Put a ring on it.
Here's what I have to say about that. No, thank you. All right, we got a couple more here.
Yeah, we got some
There's
more
actually a
Dewbacks.
reason we're talking about Dewbacks.
No,
I swear.
there's a real reason for this.
I like this one. This one is actually based on, I think it's based on a Dewback from episode 1, and it looks like noticeably different from all the other ones.
Yeah.
Also, there is like no figure that can pose on this thing. It didn't come with a sand trooper or anything.
Yep.
And it's got this long leash.
And so to kind of add to what I was saying before about why Dewbacks are special, because it's like the first real animal you see in Star Wars. When they put out these Star Wars special editions, some of the first changes that we saw that were made in that trailer were the CG Dewbacks they added to A New Hope. And we got to see like a whole bunch of them strutting around. Instead of one or two, there was like a bunch now.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. So I think that like this is a weirdly important character in Star Wars. I know it doesn't sound like it. Look at this man creeping. He's like got his little head creeping in there. But what we're ramping up to is that they just made a brand new Dewback.
There we go.
This is the Star Wars Black Series 6-inch scale Dewback. This is far and away the most sort of special and articulated one they've made. Get out of here, you ATST.
We'll talk about them another
Yeah.
time. Look at, he's got thumbs.
He's got articulated fingers.
Bended little
Hold on,
claws.
open up that mouth. Let's do a little dental exam here. What do we got in there? So he's got a tongue that moves up and down. He's got some real good chompers. He's got his little feet and his tail wiggle and all that kind of
His
stuff.
paws. I like this toy a lot.
Yeah, he's really
great.
good.
Yeah, and he can move his head around like so. Look
He's
at
really
that.
good.
Look at tongue moves.
And so we don't really get a lot of stuff in the Black Series scale anymore that's sort of, I'll be honest, that isn't really for like that's for hardcore Star Wars fans. I mean, I think the average kid doesn't really care what a Dewback is. We don't really see them in a lot of movies anymore. So to walk into a store and spend $60 on this that also comes with a Sand Trooper, which I forgot to bring out
This thing
here.
is heavy. Also,
Yeah.
look at how ripped he is. Like, he's got like a big chest.
This is straight up for Star Wars fans. And I want to show you guys one more thing, which is a really weird. He's got like feather textures on his head.
I think they added that for the special edition.
Yeah,
Like,
so
they
you
had
don't-
just little bits.
You don't see that in any other Dewbacks.
Yeah, none
so
of them have that. It's weird.
anyway, that's IGN's top 7 Dewbacks. Heading back to you now. Thanks for watching. Anyway, that was Up at Noon. We had a really good time today. This is a great show. We went through everything in the world.
Yeah.
We talked about the bears. We talked about Venom. I got Venom's origin story wrong. I can't wait to see those tweets.
Yeah, that'll be good comments.
That'll be a fun afternoon.
Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, say something nice in the comments, I guess. Or if you enjoy any video, go do that. But if you're mad about something, let it go and go find something that doesn't make you mad, and then be positive about that.
Yeah. And if you have some friends and you want them to see the show, share it with them. Because then you won't have those friends anymore.
Yeah, and if you're confused when we actually do this live, it's every Thursday at noon Pacific time, at noon, 12 p.m. The old lunch hour.
Best time for eating.
Midnight of the day. Sun's hour. The time of the goodbye.
When the hands touch on the clock.
Yeah. The vertical hands time. Yeah.
Tea time in the States.
Yep. Yes.
Baby morning.
That's the end of the show.
Midday
Thank
surprise.
you for watching our weird show.
12 on the dime.
They do this sometimes to us. They just make us squirm when
Clock
it's the
o'clock.
end of the show. Home of the toys.
Best place in the world. Wow, this guy looks like he's in AA.
This is weird.
This is like witness protection Dewback. I didn't want to tell anybody that I was hanging out
Why do
behind
we keep
Tosh's
doing
power
this?
station.
It's really weird.
I
This
was
looks
there.
like a Cinemax movie.
How's this show still going? This is
Yeah,
crazy.
why did they
Just
let
do
us?
anything
They
you
just
want.
let us go.
Yeah.
Turn the lights back up. I want to play with these
I
toys.
just want to show you guys something real quick. Right here. Hold on. Get it right here. Stop. Stop the show. Stop it.
Would you like some fresh ground pepper, sir?